HarperCollins presents Nothing to See Here by Susan Lewis. Read by Kristin Atherton, Mark Meadows, Oliver Hembrough, Lucy Price-Lewis, and Catrin Walker-Booth. 16 years earlier. It was a glorious, sunny June day just after 4 in the afternoon when Flora Gibson turned her truck and trailer off a leafy lane in the Berkeley Vale into the driveway of Kellon Manse. The wooden gates were open, so nothing unusual there, and the gravelled patch just off to the right under a giant horse chestnut was empty, so plenty of room for her to park and unload. She was only here to do the lawns today, front and back, maybe a bit of weeding, so it shouldn't be more than an hour before she was off to her last call of the day. What a joy it was being a gardener in this sort of weather, warm, a little breezy, and full of sublime countryside sounds and smells. And so peaceful. She was already picking up a tan, and the escaped strands of her knotted flame hair were lightening by the day. She might not be a beauty. Actually, with her large nose, close-set eyes, and slightly jutting jaw, she was a long way short, but the goodness in her soul radiated through her gentle nature, making her a favourite with most. She was going to be 25 next week, and Jack, her live-in partner, whose dad owned the landscaping company they both worked for, had some sort of barbecue party planned. She was looking forward to it. Jack was good at parties. It took only a few minutes to unhitch the ride-on mower, to turn it around, clamp on her earphones, and get started on the Manse's left side front lawn. It was identical to the right side, with a gravel drive surging through the centre, sloping up to the main house where Flora could see Lexi Gordian's white Volvo in the wisteria-covered carport. A blue Audi was also there, suggesting Lexi had a visitor. No doubt they were around the back, enjoying a cold drink on the terrace, while taking in the spectacular view. This meant Flora and her roaring engine and flying grass probably wouldn't be welcome beyond the long row of beech hedges that separated the front and back gardens. However, she hadn't received a text asking her not to come today, so she ploughed on for the time being. Lexi would pop out and let her know if she'd rather the lawns waited for another day. Half an hour later, she'd completed both lawns and emptied the grass catcher a couple of times, and as no one had appeared to stop her, she chugged the mower through a gap in the beech hedge to go on round to the back. No sign of anyone on the terrace, although the kitchen and sunroom doors were open, so if the noise was going to be a bother, she'd soon find out. She could only dream of one day living in a house as lovely as this, with its red brick walls, black slate roof, and white-framed windows. It was Edwardian in style, she thought, but wasn't sure. And like many of the properties around these parts, it belonged to the Kellon estate. Now that was an amazing house if ever there was one. Kellon Hall. Jack and his father took care of the grounds there. There was such a lot of acreage that it was a full-time job for 4 of their gardeners. Flora helped out from time to time, mostly with weeding and mowing and strimming. The house itself, in spite of being seriously grand and massive, was, in her humble opinion, the kind of place that appeared out of the mist in horror films. All those medieval turrets and pointy-topped window frames, not to mention the clinging ivy and poky-looking attics. Inside wasn't much better from the occasional glimpses she'd managed to sneak. All dark wood panels, towering fireplaces, and scary portraits. From where she was now, behind the manse, she could see a couple of the hall's tallest chimneys soaring up through the treetops. Unsurprising when the properties adjoined one another, although the hall had to be at least a quarter of a mile away. The weird, maybe sad, part of the hall today was that Lexi's mother, Mean Margaret, lived there all on her own. She didn't even have a Mrs. Danvers to take care of her, just a few cleaners from an agency who did their stuff once a week, and the locals who came each day to muck out the stables and exercise the horses. Finally, Flora was ready to pack up and leave. She glanced over at the open doors, surprised and, weirdly, a little bit bothered that no one had come out. She probably ought just to mind her own business and be on her way, but for some reason, she found herself going across the terrace, not sure if she thought something wasn't right, maybe just wanting to be sure nothing was wrong. "Hello?" she called.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?